Lindo Cooking friends. I'm Chef Alejandra. I am very excited and happy to receive you in my kitchen, Mexico Lindo Kitchen. This is a very, very special day for all of us. We are celebrating our 7th anniversary. For us, it's very important. It's a very important number, but it's so important for all of us. It's been 7 years of making friends, meeting new people, learning from you guys a lot. And I have to say that I've never ever worked one single day since we started all this Mexico Lindo project. I never worked a single day, and that's very important for me to say, because I've never been happier than these last 7 years. You've been sharing the table, sharing stories. Many of you helped me when I had hard times, so this is very, very nice for me to be able to give back a little bit of all the love I've received and we've received in this kitchen. So for the ones who haven't been here, book your cooking class when you're on vacation. There's nothing more fun than be able to learn about a culture with the tastes. So I would invite you all the time to visit us, because it's an amazing experience. We have a lot of fun. This is a beautiful kitchen. It's inspired on my grandma's kitchen in the country back in Mexico City. And well, I'm not going to talk that much. I just wanted to thank you to all of you who have been here and spent the day with us. And to the ones that haven't been here, please come, because we are welcoming you as soon as possible. Okay, so let's start with what we're going to prepare today. Our recipes. If you clicked on the video, if you sent an email and registered, you will receive them. And if you are connecting right now and you don't have the recipes yet, please send us an email to info@mexicolindocooking.com, and that is enough to register, so we can send you all the recipes and you can cook this at home, okay? We're going to use a blender. We're going to use very, very little utensils. So it's something that you can prepare back home very easily, okay? So we're going to start with a salsa verde. This salsa verde, it's really good for, it's a perfect salsa for enchiladas, chilaquiles, cerdo en salsa verde, which is pork cooked in this green salsa. So I always make the difference between the salsas. When you're cooking a salsa, you can cook a dish in that salsa too. Like you can cook eggs or make chilaquiles, or you can prepare a meat or chicken in that salsa, and it's a perfect way. And when you have a fresh salsa, that it's also super tasty. What we use that for, it's more for tacos, quesadillas, sopes, antojitos, things that you're going to prepare last minute, okay? So I'm going to start preparing the salsa verde. This salsa verde is going to be mixed with whole chicken breast. So while we do this, we're going to make chicken breast with skin and bones. We're going to put it in water. We're going to activate all the flavors with salt. It's very important that every time that you're boiling something, you always add salt first, and onion and garlic and bay leaf and maybe a little bit of celery, something to add flavors, so all that flavor can penetrate into the molecules of the food, and that way you can have a tasty chicken. I like to build up flavor since the origin, since the beginning. If we don't do that, then we're trying to fix something, and it's very hard to fix something that it's not cooked the right way since the beginning, okay? So we're going to need right now onion, garlic, tomatillo without the skin, and a serrano pepper. If you don't have serrano pepper, you can use also jalapeno. That's sometimes more available back home. And we are going to start roasting, or frying a little bit all the ingredients, always starting with onion. And then once we have everything with a little bit of sugar, by this I mean that we are melting some of the natural sugars of the tomatillo, of the onion, and of the garlic. That's the color, no? The brown color that you see in the food, that's sugar melting, caramelizing. So we're gonna get some sugar, then we're gonna add some cilantro, water, salt. We're gonna boil for 5 minutes, and then we're gonna put on the blender, and that's gonna be our salsa. So let's cook, let's go. We're using a little bit of lard, very little. You can use also oil, but I like to add a little flavor, especially for my tamales. I like a lot the flavor, a lot. So I melt the lard, and then just gonna break down a little bit the onion. I don't wanna chop. I never chop something that I'm going to put on the blender. So we just want to take out the sugar. Okay, what we're looking here for is for the onion to get a little bit beyond translucent. And once we have that onion beyond translucent, maybe with a little color, then we can add the rest of the ingredients. Just in this case, if you have something that is chopped, like you have chopped onions and chopped tomatillos, because you're gonna do something that's not gonna go to the blender, in that case, you start with onion, and then you keep adding the ingredients until the first one is ready. Then the next one, then the next one, then the next one, okay? So, see a little color, we have it. It smells very nice, very nice. And this is just onion with a little bit of lard, okay? So now we're going to add the tomatillo. I don't cut it smaller because it's very little, so it will cook fast. I put 2 garlics and then a serrano pepper, okay? So we stir a little until this changes color, and when this changes color to a little more pale, then we will add water, cilantro. Water, 1/2 inch. It's very little amount. I don't want a very runny salsa. I really want this thicker, because it's gonna be mixed with the chicken, and then it's gonna go to the tamales, okay? So right now, as you see, we are roasting a little. We have some color there, some sugar in the onion and the garlic. And if you saw, I don't chop the garlic. If we chop the garlic, then it's going to burn very quick. It's gonna bitter everything in your salsa. So that's why I put all the garlic complete. See how beautiful color? Okay, so now that we have the sugar, the color, the browning, it's time to add some water. Very little, 1/2 inch or less. And then we're gonna add salt. We need salt in food. That way we activate all flavors. If we don't add enough salt into the food, we don't have flavor. So don't be scared about salt, and please add that into your flavors, because that's the only way we have to activate flavors, through saltiness or sweetness. Okay? Okay? And then we are going to cover this, cook for 5 minutes, and it is going to be ready. It is a little bit pale, and then we're going to take it to the blender. So let's go. Okay, so we have all our ingredients. The amount of spiciness depends a little bit more on you. Just keep in mind that you're going to lose a little bit of spiciness when you mix the salsa and the chicken, and then you are mixing that with your masa. So put it a little bit spicier than normal. By this, I just cut smaller my pepper. So I can start with something like this, okay? We put our tomatillo, garlic, everything into the blender. Put a little liquid, not too much. Okay? And cilantro. I'm going to put a little bit more cilantro. Normally we boil with that cilantro, but I want a little bit greener, okay? So we can add fresh cilantro into this salsa, and it is super tasty, okay? Same thing. I don't want it too smooth or velvety. I don't like baby food. I like to have things with texture. I like to bite and to play with food. So I try not to put very velvety food in general, except for the flan. The flan will have that. Okay? So because we already put salt on the water, this has a flavor already, but just check. We're going to put a little bit more. Okay? Always taste whatever you're cooking. It's very important to know. If you would eat it, then you can serve it. If you don't, if you won't eat whatever you're preparing, that means that the other people neither. Okay? Super, super nice. I think it can get a little bit more chile, but I'm gonna leave it like that. Okay? So we have our salsa verde. We're gonna mix that with chicken. My chicken is there. Perfect. Gonna mix it with the chicken. Okay? We boil the chicken breast with skin and bones and all the vegetables and everything I told you. We let it cool down a little, and then we pull it with a fork or with your fingers. I was doing this with my grandma, so it was with my fingers, so it can be smaller. So if you see the texture of this chicken, it's very fine. And then we can add all the salsa verde. Look how beautiful color. If you have a epazote, you can also add to your salsa epazote. It's very nice. Not there that easy to find epazote in other places. Epazote is this herb that we have here. That's amazing. We do that with beans. We cook this in many ways, okay? So we have our chicken. And now we're gonna make our masa. I could show you how to prepare this masa with masa, actual masa, but you cannot control the flavor that way because masa was hydrated with water, and right now I'm looking for flavor. So I'm going to share a big secret from my grandma. Sorry, grandma. Okay, I'm going to share this secret with you. Instead of using masa, what I do, it's corn flour, only corn flour for tortilla. And then this corn flour, I'm going to mix it or activate it. Instead of water, I'm going to use chicken broth. The same chicken broth I got from boiling our chicken that has salt and has a lot of flavors. That it's going to be our liquid for the masa. So we're going to use a whisk. We can use a hand mixer. We can do it with the whisk too. My grandma and all my family did it by hand. I found that this gives a lot of air. The whole idea on a good masa is that it is fluffy. So we use the corn flour, the same one we use for tortilla and for masa. That's corn cooked with water and limestone. And this limestone helps us digest it good and also gives pliability to the tortilla. That's what gives the pliability. We're going to use a little bit of baking powder and the chicken broth. And again, I'm going to oversalt a little bit the chicken broth. That way I have a lot of flavor, okay? I always activate the flavors better in the liquids because that makes the flavor more even. So we're going to add the chicken broth or water if you want. And if you're making sweet tamales, because these same amounts can be made, we can prepare sweet tamales, would be water, of course, and we would use some sugar. Okay? So the idea of this is that we put it at fast speed. That way we can get a lot of air. The more air we add into the masa, the fluffier it will be, okay? So we add a lot of air. While we are doing that, I'm going to change to a different thing. I'm going to start marinating our fish for the ceviche, okay? I will tell you about the recipe later. Right now, the only thing we want to focus in is to have a white fish. A white fish, like can be tilapia. I don't spend a lot of money on a white fish because the lime, it's going to cook this and it's going to give a different flavor. So I wouldn't spend a lot of money in a ceviche. I prefer to use a good fish, a good quality fish to things that I'm going to cook, or maybe a Veracruz style, a red snapper there. I don't want something fishy or oily. I don't want red or very oily fishes. So we are going to use white tilapia. We're going to dice it. And then we're also going to use, in this case, this is shrimp. We just take out the vein on the outside because that you don't need it. It's fresh, everything. We cut it in 3. And all this is going to be marinated with lime juice. So you can mix a little bit of lemon because it gives a very nice flavor, but that would be when we are seasoning. Right now, I only want to soak very well the fish and the fish and the shrimp with salt and lime. And I started activating all the flavors because I like to have flavor everywhere. That's about what Mexican food is about, flavor all the time. So this, if you see, this, it's already getting pink in seconds with the lime because it's already cooking, okay? So I'm going to add more flavor, and I have a little bit of garlic. So I'm going to add very little, very tiny garlic just to add more flavor into our marinade for the ceviche. So for the ones who don't know, a ceviche, it's cooking in an acid. Cooking is not heating. Cooking also refers to when we are soaking and marinating, and that cooks the fish, no? So cooking in an acid, fish or seafood, okay? So we have a little garlic. We are going to put this, Claudia is going to help me to put it on the fridge because even though we're marinating and this is cooking, still we need to have this always taken care of. We cannot have this outside of the fridge because we can cause a problem and this can go bad. So we're gonna put it there. Thank you, Paula. Was Paula? And okay, so while this is marinating, we finish our masa, okay? We have fast feed, and then the next ingredient we're going to add is lard, pork fat. In Mexico, you can buy lard in the butcher, with the butcher, or even in the supermarket and in all markets, because we use lard for a lot of things. So lard in a solid way. For the vegans or vegetarians, we can use also Crisco, no? So you can fill it with vegetables and have a very nice, I do beans also in this mixture. So we're gonna add the fat, that in this case is the lard. Depending on the part of Mexico is the type of fat we're gonna use. Sometimes, for example, in Yucatan we use oil, and the texture of the tamal is totally different. It's not as creamy, except for the colado tamales that are awesome. They are prepared in a different way. So tamal, we have a beautiful masa. So there's one test that my grandma used to make, that you put a water and then you add a little bit of masa, and if it floats, it's ready. The idea is that we get a lot of air. But what I see is whenever I add the fat, this looks like a little bit like whipped cream. So this is very creamy, and that for me is enough to know that this is ready. By the way, we're going to give some minutes after the class. If you have any question, write them down, and I will be very happy to answer them. We have the masa. Very, very tasty. So we have our masa. We have our, remember, our salsa verde with the chicken. Okay? We have corn husk in this area, but depends on the geography actually, because the type of tamal depends on where it is from. So these are from central Mexico and Mexico City. But there are over 400 different types of tamales. This means that we have tamales that are wrapped in banana leaf, in avocado leaf, in corn husk, in fresh corn husk. So that depends on the area, on the recipe. There are thousands of recipes for tamales. What I told you about 400 is 400 different types of tamales, only in Mexico, okay? So we soak in 10, 15 minutes our corn husks just to make them pliable, okay? We are going to take the excess of water, and how we are going to assemble a tamal is we are going to open. Normally what I do is I look for where the stem would be to face me, because that way I can take the excess of masa. So we're just going to spread a little. Look, there are as many recipes for a tamal as grandmothers, aunts, and mothers are in Mexico. So there are so many different techniques and ways. Hold a sec. Okay. So there are so many different techniques and ways. There's no incorrect way to make the tamal, unless you make a mess. But there's no incorrect. So there's many people that spread it all the way. I don't like to spread that much because when I fold, I don't want to lose that masa. I think it's flavor. So when I spread it not too far from the end or the sides. That way I give space for these to fold, okay? And then We're going to put the salsa verde with the chicken. Okay? Enough. We can make a joke here that's for sale, then you put less, but no, please. No, generosity is shown not only, I think that generosity is shown also in the way of the amount of food that you put into the table. This is going to be with love. You're showing your love through food. So please put enough, a good amount. Okay, let's fold it. And then we're going to squeeze. So you can get all the masa and the salsa and the chicken here. And then you can fold towards yourself like this. So this is a tamal. Okay? So you're going to use, you can cut like strings made from the same corn husk or use a string. And then you are going to make a tie, a very loose tie. We make a double tie, and look, it's very loose. Actually, you can take it out. It's super easy, okay? So I'm gonna make it this again, another tamal, and that we're gonna put it on the steam cooker, okay? So again, we open our corn husk that we soaked in water for some minutes until it became pliable. We took out all the liquid. We get our masa. We spread the masa not too far from the end or the side so we can close the tamal. We put the chicken with the salsa verde. Be generous. Close your tamal. Okay? Squeeze the masa and then close your tamal. Okay? We make the tie. Normally, a recipe like this would make you 6 to 8 tamales. Sometimes I do 2 batches of masa, and I prepare a lot of them, and then I freeze them like this. So I am ready for a party last minute. You know, Mexicans, we love to have party, and we don't need an invite. So you're doing something, and all of a sudden, somebody knocks at your door and says, hey, we came for dinner. Okay. So I always have tamales ready on my freezer like these, like not cooked. And then if somebody comes, I just put them on the steam cooker. We're going to use a steam cooker. Okay. This is called tamalera. We can also use, we're heating that so we can get a lot of steam. We're going to actually add more water so we can have a good amount of steam. Okay? And we place our tamales standing up like this. Okay? So, actually I want to show you so you can see the steam cooker. Okay? I want you to see how we place them. We start putting one and the other and the other and the other all the way until we get all our tamales together. The tighter they are, the more they share the temperature so they cook better. This is going to be about an hour and a half on the steamer. Keep checking the water because it needs to have water. This never touches the water. This is always in this tray. The water is below. So it needs to have enough water and never touch the water, okay? This is gonna go to the stove, medium flame, okay? And then we're done with the tamales. The tamales will be cooking for about an hour, right? So now, what we're going to do, we'll finish your tamales, please. And we're gonna do the flan, okay? We're gonna prepare a flan. Let me move a little bit all these things. And for the flan, okay, so for the flan, we're going to use the blender. And then also, we're going to make a caramel. How do I do the caramel? I love this caramel because it's really velvety. So we're going to use normal sugar, regular white sugar. For us, our sugar, it's a little bit more, a little darker than yours. So we're going to use regular raw sugar. I add a few drops of lime juice or cream of tartar so we can emulsify and we don't have crystals or rocks forming in our caramel. And then I do something different to other people. I pre-melt or pre-dilute the sugar. That way I don't have crystals and I can control the color of the caramel so it doesn't go from white to black and then gets too bitter. So I can control the bitterness when I pre-melt with a very little amount of water, very little, okay? So I'm not even going to touch this. I'm just going to put it on the fire. Okay? I'm just going to be taking care of that. And while we do that, we do the flan. The flan, we're going to use eggs. We preheat our oven at 350 Fahrenheit, 190 Celsius. Okay? We break our eggs. It's very simple. The good thing about flan, and I love it, is that it looks beautiful and it looks that you spend hours in the kitchen, and it's actually the opposite. It's a very fast and nice dessert, okay? I check my caramel that it's going to take some minutes, so I'm not worried about it. I just mix it, okay? So we have the eggs. We're going to add condensed sweet milk. We are going to have evaporated milk or full cream milk, okay? I use a piece of cream cheese. This is actually too much. Okay? Okay. I'm going to add a piece of cream cheese. Yes, like a cheesecake. They're going to pass me a spatula so I look weird trying to use the knife. Thank you, Paula. Gracias. Dios Boutique in Mayan. Okay, we take all the condensed sweet milk, and my daughter would be right now licking the spoon. I won't do this because I am very decent, but I want to. Okay? So we have the eggs, evaporated milk, condensed sweet milk, a little bit of cream cheese, and I am going to do something different. We are going to add a little bit of this. Okay, perfect. Okay, so look, our caramel, it's ready. Beautiful, because now we don't have a black caramel that it's really bitter, and I don't like that at all. So we're going to get our flanera or our flan pan. We're going to move very well our flan pan so we can get all the bottom of our flan pan covered with the caramel, because that will be the top of our caramel, of our flan. Okay, so we have all our caramel there. We let this solidify while we're putting on the blender. So coming back to my flan, what I'm doing is using a little bit of lime. Yes, it sounds really weird, but this lime is going to take some of this eggy flavor that some of us don't like. Okay? So I put a little lime zest because that's going to give a citrusy flavor at the end. I'm going to put a little bit of vanilla. This is a vanilla bean, and this is amazing. I love vanilla beans. They're originally Mexican, by the way, so you know. They were the original place for very, very good quality of vanilla bean. It's in Papantla, in Veracruz State, in the Gulf of Mexico. So this, it's a vanilla bean. Vanilla, it's an orchid. And this orchid, that looks like a vine sometimes, but it's an orchid, takes at least 6 years to bloom. And then after that, we pollinize that, and we get the pods after 18 months. So it's like a very long process. What I do is I take some of this beautiful seeds here. So I open it in the middle, and I see a lot of chefs doing it this way, you know? But if you do that, then the sides will lose some of the seeds. So the idea is that if we do it in an horizontal way, like open it in the middle, but horizontally, see? You can scrape with the back of the knife and get 100% of the, well, not 100%, but at least a very, very big part of all the seeds. So if you want to see this, no? If you want to see this vanilla, this, it's going to go into our flan. We are going to blend our flan and get everything mixed. I don't like the egg. Okay, so we have our flan pan. It already has the caramel. We add our flan. And here goes again at the opposite than what we did with tamales. We don't want any air. We don't want bubbles because we don't want this to look like a Gruyere cheese. So what we can do, let's heat. This little heat will take all the bubbles to go to the surface. Then all the bubbles will break down. So we will have a really velvety, smooth, beautiful flan, okay? Okay? Okay, we got all the bubbles there. Now we can close. The idea of the flan pan is that it closes so we have all the liquids to cook by itself. So we're going to use a bain-marie. We're going to use the oven that we preheat. We're going to put a tray with water. And the idea of a bain-marie, in this case, is that there's no strike of temperature that goes from the bottom to the top, because if we heat the caramel, what we're going to have is scrambled eggs, and we don't want that, okay? So we are going to put it in a tray with water. That way, temperature grows even. We have humidity and temperature evenly, and the flan is going to start cooking from the outside to the inside. From the outside to the inside, slowly cooking, okay? So remember, it's 350 Fahrenheit and 190 or 190 Celsius, and we are going to put this on a preheat oven with the tray and water in a bain-marie for 40 minutes. Look, the tray, it has water. We're adding it. We let it heat for 40 minutes. And after 40 minutes, what we are doing is we are going to open the lid. We are going to move a little, and if it looks like yellow, because of course, if you put a toothpick, there's no way it can work. So we are going to just move it. If it looks like a, thank you. Gracias, Pau. My mess. And then when that's solid, like a yellow, it's like, then it's ready. We let it cool down. We can use an inverted bain-marie that it's with ice, water. We put the flan so we can cool it down. Flan, we will do this in a very few minutes, but we will already have one ready, of course. Okay? So we're going to do the ceviche and get ready to serve everything, okay? Let me just clean a little bit these things. Actually, Paula can come and help me to do a little. Okay, so let's assemble the ceviche. So the ceviche, we marinate the fish and the seafood. ¿Me pasan el ceviche? So we are assembling our ceviche. We soaked it or marinate our fish and our seafood for 40 minutes in the sin agua. We're going to take out all the liquid, all the marinade that we used. And we are going to dice cucumber, red onion, like a salad, like a pico de gallo. This is a very nice relish. Tomato. Yellow bell pepper, and I love this for the color, honestly. Okay? So, we have the yellow bell pepper. It's going to be a very nice flavor. We have a little bit of garlic paste. This garlic paste. Gracias, Pau. Thank you. Okay. ¿Me regalan cilantro? Picado. Okay. So, we have all these, and the ingredients for the ceviche are Mexican oregano, ground Mexican oregano, a little black pepper, our fish and our seafood. It's very important that we don't use our fish and our seafood like rubber. So don't over marinate it. Don't overcook this. It needs to be 40 minutes. That's all it needs. We mix all that ingredients, and we're gonna add new lime. I like to take out the lime where we cook the food. So I'm using an extra lime. You can, here is where you could use lemon. Okay? And the last ingredient we are going to add into our ceviche, of course, salt. What do you think it's missing? Exactly, cilantro, no? Because that's going to give the color. So we're going to add cilantro. Now it looks beautiful. It has a lot of color. And of course, a lot of flavor. I have two ideas for serving this ceviche, okay? This ceviche goes very good. I love this one. I like to use this as to serve it in the table. It looks beautiful, like a martini glass. Okay? You can use a little bit of olive oil to add into your ceviche. I prefer to use only lime, but you can do that, okay? Then we are going to use avocado at the end to serve and decorate. Okay? Then with a spoon, you can scoop this. It's a good trick so you don't have to be touching so much this. So what I like to do is to use, this is for decoration, but I have some avocado to serve. Don't add it in the ceviche because that can get too mushy or creamy, and I don't want that. So we're gonna have one shrimp, and this goes really nicely. And then I sprinkle this with black sesame, and that makes it look so pretty and then so tasty, okay? So, or you can serve this in a plate. Now put all your ceviche in a plate. And put it in the middle of the table. That's more like a Mexican table where we like to put everything in the middle. But I like both. Look, they are super pretty. Okay, so we have the ceviche. We have our tamales ready. So let's put it in a plate. Okay, let me take our tamales. And the flan. Look how pretty. Ooh. Okay, so tamales. Okay. We serve our tamales. How do you know that a tamale is ready? Well, first rule, it's if you open the husk a little bit, the masa will detach. So, okay. So, it will detach. See how it looks? It's going to be soft because it had the salsa. So the salsa made it a little bit looser. So if you want to see this tamal, it's beautiful. It smells amazing. So this one, sorry, but I have to do this. I can't. So I have to try. So I will let it cool down a little bit so it gets firmer. And that's ready. And then, last but not least, and the best part, our dessert. So, the flan. We took it out of the oven, 40 minutes. We checked it. We let it cool down. See, it's like a jello. Okay. Now we're gonna use a nice plate. These should detach super easy because we don't have any flour there, okay? But we're gonna help ourselves with a little knife. Okay. Gracias, Pao. Thank you. So we're just going to mark the outside of our flan pan, okay? Move it a little bit. Woohoo! Okay, so look at this beauty. Wow! Flan Napolitano. So, look how beautiful. So the caramel melted and diluted. So this is, you don't need to do anything or add anything. This is the caramel as it was. Look at this beauty. Look at this beauty. It's amazing. So you don't need to do anything with the flan, but eat it, please. It's amazing. It's really tasty, okay? So we have our ceviche. We have our tamal, and sorry, but I really do need to do this, okay? This is amazing. It's super tender, very nice, amazing. Okay, so I hope you like this. I hope you enjoyed as much as I do. Thank you for celebrating with us our 7th anniversary. This is amazing. It's an honor to be able to do something that I love and to have my passion fulfilled in a cooking school. Remember, we have two cooking schools now. We have Valladolid and we have Puerto Morelos in Riviera Maya. And please prepare these. Send us pictures if you cook this and show us how was your result, okay? Thank you very much. And let's see each other again, okay? We'll wait for you here in Mexico Lindo Cooking. Thank you very much. I'm Chef Alejandra. It was a pleasure to cook together. Thank you. Bye. Bye. Bye.